Dzisiaj jestem na spotkaniu z przywódcą partii opozycyjnej, to znaczy w Kanadzie to jest partia konserwatywna i on będzie prawdopodobnie premierem Kanady, bo będą wybory w tym roku na jesieni. Dlatego zobaczymy, co on ma do nas do powiedzenia, jakie ma plany. A jak później będzie, to się wszystko okaże, ale nie mamy wyjścia.
I mamy ten zaszczyt w ogóle, że przyjechał do nas tutaj i się spotkał z Państwem. Bardzo serdecznie wszystkich witam i dziękuję za przybycie. Chciałem również powitać tutaj przyszłą, naszą Member of Parliament, Tracy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hello everyone, my name is Tracy Gray. I'm the Member of Parliament for Kelowna Lake Country. Jane. And it's so incredible to be here. Thank you so much for being here today. Pierre Poilievre is the leader of Canada's Conservatives. And he wants to restore Canada. He will, first of all, remove the gatekeepers that are blocking what Canadians can build here. He will restore safe streets. He will fight against the inflationary, wasteful spending of the current government. Now, he believes that small government brings bigger citizens. And he also believes that if a government is the servant, not the master, it is better for Canada. So under Pierre's leadership, he wants to bring common sense back to Ottawa. And so please join me in welcoming the next Prime Minister of Canada, the Honourable Pierre Poilievre.
Tracy. Dzień dobry. Thank you very much to Michael, Conrad, and who else is here that's helped from the... Wojtek, where is he? There he is. Thank you very much from the veterans, the Polish Veterans Association and the Polish Congress, and the incredible members of the community who are here today to celebrate the shared conservative and Polish values of faith, family, and freedom. You know, these are the values that built this country, the pillars upon which Canada was forged and built, and the reason why so many millions of people came from around the world to call this place home. Many of Canada's Polish community came here to escape communism, to take control of their lives, make decisions for themselves, raise their families, and earn a living in peace and without oppression from the state. And Canada was the perfect place to do that, because this was a country whose real nationality, in the words of Wilfrid Laurier, was freedom itself. It was that freedom that gave me the chance, as the adopted son of two school teachers, to rise to be future Prime Minister. It's the, thank you very much. It's that freedom that brought my wife here as a refugee from what later became a communist country, that is Venezuela. A country that was the wealthiest in the entire Americas, but now the poorest because of communism. All of these stories are really, at their essence, the same. It is a nation of people who bound themselves together based on the ancient traditions of freedom that gave us everything we have. Unfortunately, we see those freedoms under attack today by a prime minister who wants to concentrate all the power in his own hands and in the hands of a small group of aristocratic elites around him. They want to control your money, your thoughts, your speech, your children, your property, your internet, your Facebook account. They want to control everything. It's all for your own good, though. There's no self-serving or self-interest motivating them. It's simply a desire to do for you what you are not able to do for yourself. To think for you, to spend your money for you, to really control every aspect of your life, and to put it all of the control in the hands of a precious group that are more wise and virtuous than the rest of us. But what has been the result of concentrating that power in their hands? We see it when we look around us today. 2 million people forced to go to food banks after the cost of groceries has gone up faster than at any time in 40 years. People losing their homes with the fastest interest rate hikes in modern Canadian history. The slowest growth in the G7. In fact, our per capita GDP now smaller than it was 5 years ago and shrinking every single day. Housing costs have doubled. In fact, they've risen 40% faster than wages. That is the second worst record of all 40 OECD countries and double the OECD average. In fact, Vancouver is now the third most overpriced housing market in the world when you compare median income to median house prices. And in fact, you can buy a castle in Scotland with 20 bedrooms more affordably than a 2-bedroom in Kitchener, Ontario. There is a defense lawyer in Vancouver who's been contacted by her criminal clients asking if she can help them stay in jail so that they don't have to get out and pay the rent. In other words, Justin Trudeau's housing market is worse than prison. That's the reality. The only difference is with prison, you're locked in. With this housing market, you're locked out, right? That's the reality. And that crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder. It's like they took a walk down the downtown east side 5 or 6 years ago and saw the tents and the misery and the drug overdoses, and they said, no, we just got to take this nationwide and do it everywhere. In Halifax, they now have 30 homeless encampments, you can believe it, in one small city. This is the misery that Justin Trudeau and his radical communist agenda has given Canadians. And the reality is that this Prime Minister is not worth the cost of food, he's not worth the cost of homes, he is not worth sacrificing the country we know and love. Canadians should not have to give up on the things that they took for granted not long ago. This Prime Minister is not worth the cost, not worth the crime, not worth the corruption, not worth the nation that we knew and loved. Yes. Heat and grocery bills. We will cap spending and cut waste in order to balance the budget so we can bring down inflation and interest rates. We'll get rid of the $35 billion infrastructure bank, which hasn't completed a single project 6 years after it was created. We'll get rid of the $52 million ArriveCan app that didn't work, that we didn't need, and could have been designed in two days by a couple of IT workers. We will get rid of the $1 billion so-called Green Fund, which ultimately has turned itself into a cash-for-nothing program to help liberal insiders. We'll stop sending our money away in foreign aid to dictators, terrorists, and multinational bureaucracies and bring that money home for our military instead. We'll cut back on the $21 billion that Canada's government now spends on consultants. That's a 100% increase that works out to $1,400 for every family in Canada, paying taxes for federal consultants alone. We'll cut back on that number and bring the work inside the bureaucracy. The bureaucrats are paid to do the work. We shouldn't be contracting it out for $5,000 a day to insiders and consultants. We can save that money. And and we can use the savings to balance our budget and lower our tax burden, including lowering income tax, so that hard work actually pays off again, and you bring home more of each dollar you earn. Speaking of bringing home, we need more homes to bring our paychecks to. The reason costs have risen so much is because we have the fewest homes per capita in the G7, even though we have the most land to build on. And that is because we have the second slowest building permits of any country in the OECD. In fact, the cost of permits, zoning, consultants, development charges, taxes, lawyers, all add up to $1.3 million for each newly built home in Vancouver, according to a CD House study. In other words, in Vancouver, the number one cost is not land, labor, or lumber. Rather, it is government. Now, a lot of these costs are local and provincial, but the federal government does give a lot of money to the provincial and municipal governments. We give $5 billion in federal infrastructure money to the cities. The city politicians care about more about that than anything else. So my common sense plan to get them to cut back on their bureaucracy is to link the dollars we give the cities to the number of homes they allow to be completed. I'll require cities permit 15% more homes per year, or they will lose federal money. Those that beat the target will get a building bonus. We will pay our cities and our city bureaucracies the way that realtors get paid, on commission, on the number of homes that get done. We'll require every federally funded transit station be permitted for high-density sky-rises so that young people and seniors can live right next to the bus or train. We'll sell off 6,000 federal buildings and thousands of acres of federal land to build, build, build. We'll get rid of the carbon tax and the cost of shipping the materials for building, and we'll require CMA. The opioid crisis we have today, and the solution Trudeau has, and the NDP believes in this, is to give out more pharmaceutical opioids that they call safe. These are the same drugs that caused the crisis in the first place, and it profits the same companies who made the crisis happen. This is insanity. You know, that's the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. My common sense plan is to stop giving out free drugs and instead to give treatment and recovery services so that we can bring our loved ones home drug-free. And thank you very much. And thank you. Said that we would have a dollar-for-dollar system to pay the bills. My common sense plan includes a massive lawsuit against the drug companies that caused the crisis. The Americans recovered $54 billion from Big Pharma by suing them for the opioid crisis. We've recovered almost nothing. We need a massive lawsuit to hold these companies accountable and make them pay the cost of treatment, detox, and recovery so that we can reverse the crisis that they caused. We're going to bring home our safety to our communities by targeting the real criminals. I'm going to stop Trudeau's ban on lawful, law-abiding hunters and sport shooters. These are people who have been vetted by the police, who've been tested, and have a license. They are the least likely people to commit a gun crime, yet we're spending billions of dollars confiscating their licensed property. My common sense plan would instead take that money and put it into border security so that we keep the illegal drugs and guns out of our country while respecting the rights of our lawful, law-abiding sport shooters and hunters here at home. We've got to stop going after the good guys. You know, now they're basically banning the natural health products. These new rules that are going to shut down our natural health product sector, kill thousands of jobs, shut down businesses, drive production to other countries, and prevent people from using natural medicines that have worked for thousands of years, all again to serve the interests of the drug companies that want everybody to use their profit-making medicine. You know, they want to ban herbal teas while decriminalizing crack. You know, they're banning plastic straws while decriminalizing heroin. Right? They've got it backwards. So my common sense plan would eliminate this attack on our natural health products. I will also stand up every day in every way against the COVID vaccine mandates so that people can get back to their jobs. conservative bill, which I introduced and which we will pass, which will ban the federal government from ever imposing COVID vaccine mandates, and I'll keep demanding that provinces, like the NDP government here, do the same so we can have more nurses. And speaking of nurses, we're going to bring in a blue seal professional standard. We have the red seal for the licensed trade. I'll bring in a blue seal for the licensed profession so that immigrant doctors, engineers, nurses, and others can take a test, prove they're qualified, and get a national license to work anywhere in Canada in their profession, earning powerful paychecks. It's common sense. We're going to bring back freedom to this country by repealing the censorship laws, C11. We'll ban the central bank from creating a digital currency. I will ban... We will ban all of our ministers and members of parliament from any involvement in the World Economic Forum. We'll ban the Iran-backed IRGC, which is one of the most dangerous terrorist groups in the world, but has 700 agents operating in this country, terrorizing our Persian and Jewish communities. We'll shut down the Chinese-controlled police stations so that no longer is our population harassed and spied upon by another communist regime. In other words, we're going to bring home control of our country back to the Canadian people, not to foreign multinationals or powerful elites, not to foreign dictatorships. We want this country to be back in the hands of the common people. The common sense of the common people united for our common home. Your home, my home, our home. Let's bring it over.
Just one moment, please. Thank you so much, Pierre, for coming here and meeting us with the Polish community out here. We would just like to thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And we just have a little gift here for you. You can wear it once you become Prime Minister.
Wow. Can I open it?
Yes, you can. All you.
All right, here we go. Oh, wow, look at this. A beautiful tie. There, very nice. Real honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. PR is going to stay here and is able to take some pictures, and we'll be starting a lineup just over here. You'll see the direction that PR is going. The lineup will go around this way. So if you wanted to line up, it will go towards the back of the room, around the back, and then out the front. Thank you very much, everyone.